So the human brain, its whole purpose is to optimize its energy, right? So it's always looking for ways to minimize the effort it has to put forward. It doesn't want to have to think consciously about making decisions. It tries to automate as many decisions as possible. So what this means is that a lot of our behaviors throughout our entire life come from a subconscious impulse, a habitual pattern that's been wired into our brain in response to different cues. Whenever we have a cue in our environment, a cue in something that we sense, something that we hear, taste, touch, something that we see people around us, different behaviors are cued, right? So like CUED. So this is very obvious when it comes to habits like eating or something. Like if we see a cookie, we're going to probably grab the cookie and eat it, just because our brain is designed to crave sugars, fats, and protein. So we just naturally are evolved to consume this stuff. But the same also goes for psychological reactions. So when we were children, right, we had these different situations that happened to us that were maybe traumatic or that caused us fear or painful. And so we developed ways of navigating these to minimize the pain and the fear and the sorrow, whatever it is. And so anything that then is remotely similar to that initial event is going to trigger the same psychological muscle memory, the same pattern of reacting and behaving as that child's response was when we were children. So all this to say, the brain is a habit-forming machine. It's constantly trying to minimize the amount of decisions it has to make on a consistent day-to-day basis, moment by moment. So what this means is, first of all, it's very liberating to understand this because it gives you compassion for yourself. You understand that I'm not just a weak or lazy person, or I just want to do bad things. I am being triggered by my environment, by the social roles and social relationships around me. I am being triggered in ways that my brain has developed patterns of responding to. That's all it is. So it gives you more compassion for yourself and understanding, but it also gives you the ability to take advantage of it. And that's what these 4 laws of behavior change are all about. So just to recap on everything, James Clear in his book Atomic Habits, he talks about these 4 laws of behavior change, and they're based deeply in psychology, and he didn't necessarily come up with them, but he did go deeper into them. And the 4 laws are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and I'll send you some stuff on this too if you don't want to take notes, Marie, and make it rewarding, make it satisfying. So this is for how you build a habit, and you just do the inverse of that to break a habit. So you can make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it difficult, and make it unsatisfying. So when a cue arises, we have a response to it. So that's where the first one comes in, make it obvious. So if we want to, like I use the example of reading before bed. If you want to read before bed, you can make it obvious by, after you make up your bed in the morning, you put a book on your pillow. Or you put your workout clothes on your bed or on the table. And so you already see when you come home from work or wherever you are, you see your workout clothes. It's obvious. It triggers it. If they're all hidden, if your guitar is in the closet and you never see it, you probably won't practice as much as if you just kept it outside. Like, I have my guitar always next to my desk. So whatever your habits are, journaling, if it's, put the journal on the table. If it's wanting to plan your day the day before, then Valeria, then you can put your calendar on a screenshot of your calendar on the background of your phone, or you can have an alarm that goes off, at 9 p.m. that says plan your day. Something that makes it obvious. This is it's so fundamental, but it's so powerful for triggering your habits and the things that you want to do. And the opposite goes if you don't want to do something. If you don't want to eat peanut butter and honey with dates and bananas and all the delicious stuff that goes with that, speaking for myself, then hide the honey and the peanut butter at the back of the closet, or down in the basement, so you can make things invisible that you don't want to do. It's obvious, but it's very powerful. Now for the second one, making it attractive, you can do something that is called temptation bundling. And essentially it's saying that I will do the thing that I need to do, and then after that I will do the thing that I want to do. So let's say the thing you want to do is watch Netflix. So you can say, I will watch Netflix after I finish my daily disciplines, or after I have made my content for the day. Whatever is important to you, whatever you need to do, you can connect it to the thing that you want to do. And that way you have this attractiveness, this desire to do it, because once you do it, you get to do the thing you want to do. So very simple, but also very effective. So make it obvious, make it attractive, and then make it easy. So obviously, the more difficult things are, the more resistance there is to doing it, right? There's this law in nature, the path of least resistance. Energy always flows down the path of least resistance. So if you want to do a habit every day, you need to make it as easy as possible. And it's important to remember that a habit only becomes a habit if it's repeated, if you begin it, if you start it. So rather than setting some super high, like I didn't say I'm gonna do music production for 2 hours every day. I said I'm gonna do it for 20 minutes. It's a pretty small amount of time. And same for 𝗺. She only did like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. It's pretty simple, half an hour. So one easy way to make it easy is to make it small. So you don't have to have massive habits. You just have to start the action. And then after a certain amount of time passes, then you can begin to expand it and make it something that is bigger. But you have to make it easy at first. So that's the third one. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy. And then the last one is make it rewarding, make it satisfying. So one simple way to do this is to track your habits. So if you have a workout log, or you have your food journal over there, or something that you want to use to track your progress, then every time that you do your habit, you can put a big check mark next to it. And it's a satisfying way to reward yourself, to see your progress. And you don't want to break the streak. So then you see like in the chat, I don't know if you guys felt it, like when you put like all those green check marks and then you had to put a red X, it's like, oh, damn. And then I would think about it. I would think about it before. I was about, so many times, guys, I was about to be like, guys, I just didn't feel like doing it. And then I thought about having to put a fucking red X, and it killed me. So it's a simple thing like that can help you to make it satisfying to do your habit. I mean, you can. It's similar to temptation bundling, where you pair something good with the thing you need to do. So if you eat healthy for, I don't like cheat meals, but if you don't eat a bunch of honey and peanut butter for 5 days, then on the 6th day, then maybe I'll allow myself to like make a big bowl of honey and peanut butter and mix a bunch of stuff with it. Something that, like, if you finish the book that you said you were going to read for your studies, then you will get a new book that's just for enjoyment and pleasure, or something like that, where you reward yourself for completing your habit. So that's the 4 laws of behavior change. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but a lot of times we don't do these little things to make it easy for us. So any thoughts on any of that? Any questions? Any ideas? I'll send a little sheet that kind of explains everything, and you can think about how to apply it to your own habits. And I'll also summarize the other stuff we talked about too. Now, I also said something about the secret of discipline. And this is something that came to me just a couple days ago. I've been listening to a lot of Eckhart Tolle recently. You know, A New Earth, The Power of Now, Stillness Speaks. These books are just super powerful devices for evolving consciousness. Just listening to them. Obviously, Eckhart Tolle is fully tapped into the flow of life, the divine essence of existence, consciousness itself. It flows through him. It's not a human trying to think of things and do things. He's connected fully to it. So when he writes, the words are absolute pure wisdom, and when he speaks them, because he reads his own audiobooks, his presence, the presence of consciousness is just flowing through his voice. And so basically, when I listen to these books, and I listen to them a lot, and I fall asleep to them a lot, it just creates this like upward spiral of conscious awareness within me. And something that just became very obvious was the impact that awakening has. So his definition of awakening is the separation of thinking and awareness. Simple as that. So normally, awareness, which is the light of consciousness, its face is plunged into the reality of the mind. And there's no distinction between who I am and the thoughts of my mind and my body and my goals and desires and fears and past and story and all this stuff. We are completely identified with that whole mess of energy, of thoughts and sensations and emotions and everything, the ego. And when the awakening process begins to happen, which I think in all of us, I'm pretty sure it has, there's this space that sometimes arises between the thinking and the awareness. So when that space arises, there is freedom from the compulsive behaviors that the mind habitually follows and craves. There is freedom from the worries and the fears that the mind is creating, because those worries and fears are here, and you are here. And so there's no question about, can they hurt me? Are they real? Are they absolutely important? There's no question. They're here and you're here. And you know in that state that there's nothing that can really hurt you here. It's a beautiful game, a beautiful illusion. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not absolutely real. And what that gives you is freedom. It gives you the freedom to choose. And so if discipline is choosing to do the things that are important to you, even when you don't feel like doing them, then having the freedom to choose wisely will obviously help you tremendously to be disciplined. In the 𝗬𝗏 they talk a lot about doing, non-doing. And the master does nothing but leaves nothing undone. Right? In Eastern philosophy, they call this wu-wei. So essentially what this is when awareness separates from thinking, there is a connection with the eternal essence of life, the flow of life. You are aware of the one underlying consciousness out of which everything arises. So there's no longer me trying to find my way in this world. There is I, that is life, moving through the person of Perry and Marie and Valeria and Tim. There is this knowing of what to do, this unspoken fluidity of action. And in that state, you can't make a mistake. Everything you do is aligned with the best solution to whatever situation you're in, whatever the problem is, you're aligned with it. So if we have set up the conditions for getting to our goals, which is what the whole discipline ritual is for, it's why we're setting these daily habits, the weekly targets, the monthly milestones, they're all supposed to align with what's important to us, right? And we're supposed to kind of get centered and find out what's really important to us before we set them. So once that framework has been created, then when we step back into just the presence, the awareness of the mind, the separation between thinking and awareness, our actions will automatically flow into what that framework has laid out for us. So we will automatically do what we said we're going to do. Our resistances, they won't mean anything because there's that freedom, that space between us and the resistance and the compulsion to sabotage ourselves and to do things that don't align with our goals and our highest values. We'll see them from this space, and there's the freedom to choose to do the other thing, to follow the framework that we laid out for ourselves through these daily disciplines and targets and milestones. So, to sum it up, presence is the secret to discipline.
Presence is the
secret to discipline.
You said
presence.
I want to write down this sentence because it's I want to remember that presence is
the secret to discipline.
Thank you.
Yeah. After I had that insight, I looked back on the progress that I have made in my ability to be who I want to be, to do the things that I really want to do and not do the things that I don't want to do. And it has come down to being present. It has come down to, it's more about not acting, not doing things, pulling back from the mind's momentum. And from that state, and it only takes a moment, if you just can pull back from that just for a moment and just be still and present and aware, then the disharmonious options no longer become an option. The idea of doing the thing you don't want to do isn't even on the table. And if we've already laid out what we do want to do, then naturally we flow into that. Because hopefully it came from that source that we're supposed to, in the discipline ritual, the first steps are tapping into that presence, it's tapping into the right state of being. So yeah, I guess that's really what it comes down to. When we become present, we develop the right state of being that then creates the right story about our situation, or rather, it more disentangles us from the unhelpful story. And then that creates the right strategy moving forward, right? The state story strategy that Tony Robbins talks about, that's what becoming present aligns you with. The right story, and therefore the right strategy. So this was really big insight for me. I'm definitely I need to articulate it a little bit better and write it out, maybe even make it like a little ebook just to remember things by and share with people. But to me, I think it makes a lot of sense. And it might sound kind of like just spiritual rambling, maybe to most people, but I know you guys are pretty tapped into, so. So that's all I wanted to share. That's the thoughts I had, taking advantage of the mind and how it's constructed, cueing our behavior with obvious cues, making things attractive to us, right? Doing the things we want to do only after we do the things we need to do. And then making it easy to do, making it small and simple, 2 minutes or less. That's a great way to start. Can you do your habit in 2 minutes or less? Start there. A habit can only become a habit if it's repeated. And to repeat it, it has to be easy enough to start. And then make it satisfying. Reward yourself for it.
Sound good.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
That was really insightful.
Nice.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Glad you connected to it. Thanks. So let's start on Monday, and I'll message in the group about the rest moving forward. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Enjoy your day. Big love.
Big love.
See you guys.
Bye now. Have a great day.
You too.